Greetings and salutations, everyone. It's time for another episode of Viewport Relay, a bi-weekly podcast where the Viewport team looks at the latest news in the gaming industry. As always, I'm your host, Albert Corson, joined by Tristan John.
Hello.
And Alex Nestor.
Hey.
Alex, are you ever bothered that you're always second on the list of intros? That just popped in my head right now.
Nah, I always, I like being the follower, the caboose of, so to speak. It's like
the caboose of intros.
Yeah, it's like the pillar, I'm the Omega tier alpha. It's I always
finish
arrive.
Strong. They say finish strong, so
I'm shaking my head
you're
right
the last word that comes into people's minds, so you gotta, stay strong.
Exactly. I stand out. I stick.
Is a stick strong?
Sometimes. It might be brittle. It can sometimes break.
You know what they say. You break stick, now what do you have? They have two
sticks.
Yeah.
Stick
Infinite
always
sticks.
wins. Stick always wins.
The duping trick they don't want you to know about.
Uh-huh.
Nature hates it.
All right. We are episode 70 on this beautiful April...
Tuesday evening, 4:20.
Tuesday evening, 4:20. What a great day. We're going to start with our favorite segment, and our only segment for the time being. What have y'all been playing? What have you been playing? Who wants to start? Taking volunteer requests today.
Yeah, I guess I'll hit it up. I got, I think, one new one since we last talked. Maybe? I can't remember I can't remember if I mentioned it last time, but, I've been getting my toes wet in a little bit of Babby's first Battle Royale. I've done it.
Oh, right. This is a momentous occasion.
I mulled over it for I don't know how long, but I eventually did it. I finally downloaded Call of Duty Warzone to play with my best friend Tristan and another friend. And then, so I've been trying that, and I don't know. It's kind of crazy walking into it. Like, I've watched some of it before, but actually playing it, I just feel like I'm moving so slow, and everybody else is moving like Adderall. They're on all the drugs. They're on speed. They're just going all around me, and they're faster than I am, but I've hit some frags. I'm getting there. But yeah, I think I've been enjoying it overall. I need to get sold on a little more, put more hours in, but
have you dropped in on the season pass yet, or however that game
monetizes?
No,
I've not purchased a season pass. I've not actually purchased any Call of Duty game yet, so I'm staying out of that. I don't think I would do a season pass thing. The skins and stuff don't really interest me at all. They all kind of, I don't know. I guess personal side.
Dangerous words.
Well, the
$600 in already. I see Alex just.
The Call of Duty skin stuff, they all seem super pandery to me. They're like super gamer, or they're super weed related, which is
even
a 420 thing.
The anime ones, there's anime skins.
Yeah, the anime ones maybe.
They got him. They got him. All it takes is one.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's genuine love behind them. They just feel like super pandery. They're just trying to sell me and get my money.
Azure Lane collab going on.
They need that to go. Maybe they'll purchase a gun skin if it has Azure Lane boat girls on it. But
all right, Bobby Kotick.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Activision know what they need to do to get me on board for a season pass. But yeah, I think that's the only new game I've been playing. Other than that, typical 14 stuff. Still doing the raids. Trying to get to the end of the Ultimate Fight. We've made it to the end range of Part 2. So we got 2 more phases to go.
Man, you've been progging this for like 2 months at this point? Oof.
Yeah, but this is for a really good group of really experienced players. It would be about 50 hours total raid time to expect to clear. But for like your average to, player base, it would be like somewhere closer to 80 to 100 hours total of practice.
Or for 200 bones.
Yeah, you can just pay
somebody
else.
Stop.
Don't do the transaction in game. I'm not condoning it, but there are discords where you can just buy a clear, which if that makes you happy, I guess I won't stop you. But I want to do it legit.
Stop the recording.
Yoshi P, please don't ban me. Okay. All right. before I say more.
Alex
Kristen.
is gonna start selling fishing. He's gonna be like, I'll get those
oh my
fishing
God.
windows for you.
Can you imagine what the price of selling a Grandmaster caster would even start to be? The amount of hours you have to pour in, the weird hours you'd have to wake up to even be able to do the fishing windows. Yeah, that'd be absurd.
No, you could do multiple accounts, and you could like keep track of windows and make spreadsheets, so you're always catching a window for someone's account.
That's true, but then I'm just awake forever. So I don't know about that.
The fishing life.
All that money coming in, though.
Man versus machine. Never forget. Let's just build that bot. Mm-hmm. Stop recording. Nobody. I'm just cut. Just cut this entire.
We're getting banned. We're getting banned. Tristan literally just brought the B word.
Yeah. Whoops.
Mm-hmm. Yoshi P is literally crying right now.
Tristan's like, what are you gonna do? Ban me? I'm not even subbed. Got him.
He's gonna force you to sub and then ban you.
He's like, we have given you 1 free month of sub.
Just so we can ban you. And we've
also banned you permanently.
You know what? Unbanned. Just so I can ban you again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good episode. I love this. I'm gonna have really fun. A lot of fun tomorrow.
All right, Tristan. What do you got? What do you got for us?
No, I'll go first because Tristan's gonna go for a long time. I haven't played much new things. Playing a lot more Monster Hunter still. Not as much as when it first came out, but still playing quite a bit. Waiting for the April update to come, which will bring a couple new monsters. And I'm trying to think.
Have they said what new mons are coming?
I mean, we have Chameleos, we have Apex Rathalos, and then they said, and several new monsters. So we'll have to see what that is. Someone there's like a data mine a while ago, like before the game came out, and I didn't look at it, but there's supposed to be like another 10 or something returning monsters or something like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I remember someone doing similar for World.
Yep, I picked up Switch Axe last week, and I don't know what I'm doing, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I saw a couple of the additional moves they gave to it. It seems like it was made like way more mobile than it used to be, and
that's all the weapons. That's all the weapons.
I think so. Yeah, for Rise, that's a typical story. But yeah, I think Switch Axe looks a lot of fun. Where maybe before it seemed kind of samey to a lot of people in terms of its limited attack repertoire and kind of its weird lack of dodge options. But obviously,
well, they made it really good is when your blade is charged, and apparently in World you wouldn't do element, your discharge attacks when you were in axe form, only sword form.
Yep.
But now they make it so as long as you get charged in your sword form, if you switch back to axe, you still do the discharge, your file.
Oh, interesting. So the axe mode also has it.
Yeah, so it's just start landing hits and wailing.
Yeah, so that means, Switch Axe does like ridiculous amounts of damage now.
It does.
Okay.
It's insane.
Sweet.
That's all the weapons. Alright, Tristan, are you ready for the monologue? I'm ready.
Oh, I limited myself to 3. To 1, to keep annual analysis a little bit spicier at the end of this year.
Sorry, I wanted to just bring up playing Overwatch again. I don't know if I brought that up last time, but
yeah, you've joined. Actually, you tag teamed out because Alex deleted it. So
the degeneracy crew.
Yeah. Anyways, quick. Regarding Warzone, I would like to say that our group has been doing, I think, relatively good. We got second place like twice.
Yeah,
that's
we
not first.
Did. Mm-hmm.
You know what second place is, right, Tristan?
First loser or something.
First loser.
Yeah.
Good job.
I mean, to be honest, we were playing with one person down. Like, we were playing a quads mode with 3 people. And the fact that we even got to second place, I think that's an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. And I'm playing as a noob, too. So I don't even have, like, good loadouts or anything. I just have, like, the base guns to use. So it's a struggle right now to actually get frags. I basically have to use whatever drops I can find.
Alex gets spotted on every single UAV type. Doesn't have any other perks.
Yeah, I don't have dead silence or any of these other things that kids always complain about. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I think given that, we're doing fine. But what have I been playing? 2 games on my computer. 1, I've been playing DJ Max Respect V again. Did we talk about this last time?
Is it V or 5?
5v whatever. I feel like I did not talk about this last time.
You delved into it a bit. You said you got back into it. You're trying to get
the season pass,
increased keys. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm playing ranked. The ranked in that game is a little ridiculous. It's very hard.
So you've hopped into ranked because before you were still practicing. You're trying to get good. So
yeah, I'm kind of middle of silver, and I'm just being demolished. Every person in ranked in that game, even at silver level, gets like 99% hit rate on the songs.
Oh my goodness!
So it usually comes down to 1 or 2 notes if you screwed up. That's one. I also speaking about where I feel like I've gotten old, and the kids are doing Adderall and laps around me. I've started to play Dota 2. And oh my god, that game is so frustrating.
I can only imagine, because obviously a few months back I had hopped back into League after not playing it since season technically 0.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like I just couldn't keep track of my character or anything. How was the experience jumping into Dota after how many years at this point? Probably at least 4 since you played it majorly?
2.5.
Okay.
It wasn't that long ago.
So it's basically pre, major rework in terms of the talent trees and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I think I was telling, Alex earlier, but I feel like I've become accustomed to being able to forfeit a game.
Mm-hmm.
There are some games where our team basically has lost 7 minutes in, and there's nothing you can do about it. And those games sometimes drag out to be 40-minute games because the enemy team doesn't want to push an end, yet they're still ahead. So that's frustrating.
Can't you just sit in your spawn?
Yeah, but the rest of the team doesn't want to do it, and you get there's AFK detection.
You want to come back, man, because you want to come back.
Yeah, maybe I'm just a giver upper. I don't know.
I think you're a giver upper.
Yeah, but I think
just outed yourself.
Biggest frustration I have is the number of stuns and disarms and silences in that game.
You sound exactly like a League of Legends player right now. Oh my god.
I know. But
they don't even have to aim their CCs.
Sometimes it's like when I used to play Tekken when they get a combo started on you, I just take my hands off the fight stick and I just wait for it to finish.
Do you even BKB? Bro?
No, I've been playing support.
Oh. Well then...
But you know why? Because PA, Phantom Assassin, which is the hero I used to play a lot, is somehow a default ban every time.
Because no one wants to deal with one-hit crit deaths.
Yeah. Anyways, one thing I do
Just buy Yules. Just buy Yules. It's pretty good, man.
Yeah, that's what I have to do. I've been buying a lot of Force Staffs. I think that's the issue.
Force Staff's also okay.
One thing I do like the jungle changes. So what they did is there's a chance for random items to drop from the jungle as you kill camps, and those are randomized per game. Keeps things a little spicy, gives you little advantages here and there. It's like a loot box.
That right there shows your age, because I think that came out 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was with the talent upgrade. Update.
I thought you were going to say my physical age, and I was like,
no, just how you're this new thing. And I was like, didn't that come out 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And I know we're running late, so I'll try to keep this short.
No, you can take as long as you need. This is the best segment on the podcast right here.
I guess so. Especially now it's become story time almost.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Sit down by the fire.
I did a thing.
Okay.
You did a thing. Okay.
I spent a little too much money on Super Nintendo hardware, games, you name it. Analog, they make kind of HD versions of older consoles like the NES, the Genesis, etc. And the Super Nintendo one came back in stock, and I was able to nab one. And my thought process was, what better game to play on this other than my favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy VI, aka Final Fantasy III in the US on released in April of 1994. I've been starting to go through that game on the original SNES experience.
Uh-huh. Is it as good as you remember so far?
Oh, it's so good.
Oh, yeah, unbiased.
I've been making notes as I've been playing it. Hopefully, I can keep...
Are we gonna get a review Is this where this is leading up to?
You basically are if you follow his tweet to stream of it.
Yeah, I'm like picking apart the game. I like played 1 hour and I had like a 20 tweet thread about the first hour.
This game's like 30 hours long, I bet.
Yeah, I bought a used copy because Albert's copy, and it came with 3 save files. One of them which had 80 hours. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna play 80 hours, but
if you're gonna take the reins of that game copy, you gotta show them that you're a worthy successor. All right?
That's true. And the amount of money I paid for this cartridge, I need to get the value out of it.
81 hours. I better see on that Tristan save
dollar to hour ratio needs to be really good.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So rather than playing Final Fantasy VII, Tristan's putting 80 hours into playing a game he's probably already beaten like 3 times.
It's a good game.
This is the game with the Phantom Train in it, right?
Yeah, you suplex a train. How does that not pique your curiosity?
True. You got me there. Would that be on the box, like on the marketing material? Suplex a train.
A ghost train. Not any train.
Even better.
Yeah, my only advice is if you want to get kind of retro gaming gear and hardware, do it now. It's been getting really expensive.
Tristan's investing right now. He's just manipulating right now. He's going to sell this cartridge for like 20%.
I sent you the photos, right?
Here. Yeah, this is Valorant right here. It's free money.
I started a spreadsheet of all the Pokemon games that have come out, and I finally marked Pokemon Red as acquired.
How much was that?
$60.
Oh, hey, that's just like buying a new Pokemon game that just came out.
Final Fantasy VI used cost me $85.
Okay.
I think I'd just go across the route of buying a ROM card at that point.
I don't know. Anyways, that's what I've been playing.
It's the man's favorite game, okay? You can't put a price on that one.
Yeah.
Alrighty. We're rolling into the news. You like that segue?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk first about a little Tristan's favorite man. I don't know. I just made that up, but Jason Schreier.
What's up?
Of
his new book?
Formerly of Kotaku. As of like 2 years ago or something.
Currently at Bloomberg.
But he's at Bloomberg, and he published an interesting story essentially talking about how unless you are a big studio within Sony's division of studios, and that you bring in the big bucks and the big blockbuster games, that you are essentially a neglected studio and they don't really care about you.
Damn.
So that's the synopsis. I wanted to first ask for initial thoughts for if you guys were like, oh, well, I mean, that's just business, or if you had other thoughts.
It's interesting to see. I don't know if this is the same in Microsoft, but Microsoft's like all in on indies.
Nintendo as well, though. Nindies.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't own the studios. Nintendo's more like a heavy partner.
I wonder if Sony just wants to build a brand with like the high budget. They're almost like a movie studio at this point.
Yeah, they're like Marvel, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like summer blockbusters only.
I feel like that's okay. I haven't had too much. I don't know. I feel about it.
Alex?
Sorry, one more thing. I think the only thing that I'd be disappointed is if this means less games on the platform. I think that would be a huge issue. There's like 2 games to put on the PS5 right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge issue right now.
Yeah, when you focus on like high budget things, by the time the PS6 comes out, there's going to be maybe 10 games to put on the whole thing.
Yeah, I guess it's an interesting strategy to me that they're going for more of the blockbuster, which kind of speaks to me. They're trying to hit the like large saturation consumer group kind of movie experience games, is what I kind of get from that. Where they're kind of ignoring maybe the smaller, more niche titles, like RPGs and stuff that really don't have as much wide market appeal to people. I don't know. It's an interesting decision for them to make. And I think the interesting thing to come out of it was that they're doing like a Last of Us remake already.
Mm-hmm.
I think was probably the weirdest thing to hear about in this whole thing. Is that they're already planning to remake the first part of the game. Or the series. So I don't know. I guess, I'm really not the biggest fan of these blockbuster style games. So that's really why I haven't been driven to really want a PlayStation 5 at the moment. This news really does not, make me want it anymore.
I was gonna say, if you had to, like, classify, like, the big three, like, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, it's like, Sony has definitely over the past, like, 4 to 5 years taken, like, the all business, nothing personal kid kind of role, where they know that that PS4 got huge because it relied on AAA console exclusive titles, right?
Yeah.
And that success worked for them the entire last console generation. So they're just kind of rolling forward with it. It's sort of like, we're not trying to be mean to our smaller studios, but they know what worked for them, how they stole the, 7th console generation away from Microsoft, and they're just rolling forward with it. And then meanwhile, you got Nintendo here, which rolls off a similar strategy, but also I feel like since they are, the publisher and the game development studio, they still want to have fun as developers, which means that, they release weird games like Clubhouse Games 51, which I don't know how well that game sold. It probably didn't sell horribly, but it definitely doesn't sell as well as, if they were to put that team working on like a known Nintendo like franchise property, but still like they wanted to do that and they did it.
Yeah. And like similarly for Microsoft, they have all these indies, and I think that kind of fuels into their subscription Games Pass service. I think that's where they're trying to hit it up. Really fill out their catalog.
I feel like they're trying to right now address essentially Tristan's problem, in which if they go pure Sony and, they make great games, but like, you get maybe 2 blockbuster games a year, you need something to fill in the gaps, right? And so Microsoft's been bridging all these partnerships with all these smaller studios to sort of, put these single A or double A, whatever you want to call them, titles in between, and then, they can launch their Fable 4s and their Halos when they come out. But I feel like Sony has gone like, oh, you're not going to sell 5 million copies? Then you're relegated to, like second class developer studio, right? Underneath our properties.
Yeah, and we're really not going to help you out at all in terms of marketing you or anything. You're just kind of on your own.
Or like, oh, how much money do you need? Oh, no, your game's not going to sell that much. And it's like, that's from a purely business perspective, right? That's, you can't fault them for that, right? But at the same time, right, it's stifling creativity, I feel, at the lower levels, which, who knows if it's going to come back to bite them or not. Based on how they did in PS4, it looks like they were fine. But I felt like PS4 at the start, they supported indie developers a lot more. Still,
it did feel that way, and then in the couple years leading up to PS5, it felt like they found huge success in a lot of the more, movie-driven games kind of style, and then that's where they really started to shift almost all their development focus to that style, and then they just kind of seem to have adopted that style, at least for now, into what seems to be what PlayStation 5's modus operandi is.
Yeah. It's like Tristan brought it, it's like cinematic experience games is what they are.
Yeah, it's walking from set piece to set piece that they want you to see.
I wouldn't classify it that badly, right?
Well,
obviously the storytelling is like that.
There's obviously much different gameplay segments in, say, God of War and Last of Us Part 2 The gameplay is completely different, but they both kind of do the same thing where you are doing gameplay and then you go to a scene that's supposed to evoke some sort of emotion out of you. It's supposed to be heavy hitting, movie-like stuff that you're supposed to be rewarded with.
And they've been dinged on this, in the past. Not like in a negative, not in a sense that like their games are reviewed badly because of it, but it's like, and there is the, we call the Disney formula, right? Like, obviously the movies are all different, but you can kind of sense the Disney formula.
Yeah, they have the same structures, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like, that's the Sony first party title formula right there.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it too much, because, it's kind of like all games after, for Sony's, a lot of huge hitters all kind of feel like the same kind of structure of Last of Us Part 1 to me. It's kind of the way I see it.
I just realized, I was on Sony Interactive Entertainment's wiki page just looking over their first-party developers. One silver lining, at least for me. If this means Gran Turismo 7 comes out faster, I'm double down on this. Do this, yes. I think SIE owns so many different first-party studios.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, that's true enough.
And, Gran Turismo, yes, it's a driving game, but that game has also sold, roughly 8 to 10 million copies with each entry. I hope they consider that as a cinematic blockbuster.
I think they do. I think it's because also the racing market has become such a smaller playground that every console sort of has its, quote, its racing game, right? On a Sony console, it's Gran Turismo. On Xbox, it's Forza, and then on Nintendo consoles, it's Mario Kart, right?
Yeah. Mario Kart versus Gran Turismo.
Yeah. Isn't that quite the difference?
Well, Mario Kart 8 has sold
yeah, no kidding.
It's like one of the best-selling games on Switch.
But here's the big sell. Is Gran Turismo going to have a hard-hitting story like some of the Need for Speeds have had?
It's going to be like Madden. How Madden put in a story. They're going to have a background on your racer.
Oh, man, yeah. Got to develop his drift skills and stuff. Yeah,
it's gonna be like career mode, is what it's gonna be called, or something like that.
I think similar to what you guys have been saying. The only worry is that I hope we don't move into kind of these cookie cutter type of games, right? Like Last of Us and God of War and Horizon are kind of similar type of games, at least in my head. I don't want every game that comes out on PS5 to be basically the same thing.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We haven't really heard of it within, a specific, publishers, studios per se, but back in the early 2010s, it was the open world trend, right, where every game was going open world, and it was getting really cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And you could tell those that, sort of like the Battle Royale trend, those who hopped on the boat versus those who really tried to innovate in the space. And I think Sony can pull it off, right? Like what you said, the narrative style might be similar, which I think is a heavy attribute to how the Sony Interactive Entertainment formula goes. But I think the gameplay is, unique enough that they can differentiate themselves. We'll see, right? Over time, if they do start to, blend too much, it could lead to their downfall, right? Not that it's going to happen overnight. It's going to have to be years and years of stagnant games that they release. I think Sony is smart enough to realize if they're hitting that formula, whoever the old Guerrilla Games guy who's now the president, he'll pick up on that and be like, all right, we gotta, maybe we're going to shift gears a little bit, start going indie a little more, because half the stuff we're releasing is feeling too samey.
There definitely needs to be more of a sample size, I think. We've still got a semi-small spattering of games, so yeah. I think that it's play devil's advocate. I think they can still change it up, and they'll maybe surprise us in the future with something wild.
I know this is our go-to, but they will call in Cliff Bleszinski.
Man.
As the merc.
Building up the Cliffy B number mentions in early on in the year. I like it.
Hot take. You ready?
Hot take.
Okay.
New Sony Interactive studio led by Phil Fish.
Phil Fish is retired. I don't think people get that.
Hey, who did you just bring up? Who did you just bring up?
Cliffy B's a family man, and he's coming out of... I think he at least said he's coming out of retirement. I don't remember what he said exactly, but...
Phil Fish.
Yeah, Phil Fish. He's coming.
He's leading
Sony Indies division.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. All their games are just gonna be named after hats. It's gonna be like Fedora, 10 gallon, just a whole assortment of hat-based games.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Any last words? Moving on. All right. Shorter one here. Sort of continuing on the trend, the unfortunate trend, one might even say. Amazon canceling its Lord of the Rings MMO. Not due to, at least, as far as we know, not due to internal turmoil with like the game design or, where it was going. There was a game development or a disagreement between Amazon and Tencent. I couldn't really pick up in the article, like, if it was an IP related thing, because I was like, wait, Tencent doesn't own the Lord of the Rings IP, do they? Did you guys pick up on what it actually was? Or can I not read?
No, I heard there was some contract issues.
Okay, so just some contract issues that essentially they couldn't work out, so they canceled the game. Which I guess kind of sucks if you're a Lord of the Rings fan.
Well, silver lining, Lord of the Rings fans still have Golem to look forward to.
There's
that game, remember?
My precious.
It's not made by Amazon Studios.
Not only that, silver lining, if you're still looking for Amazon Games MMO, New World is coming out August 2021 still.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why Amazon was making two MMOs at the same time, but here's a question I had. All right, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Why is Amazon trying so hard to get into the video game industry?
So I think it's just a really lucrative front. I think that's the...
But they failed like 3 times. And I know Amazon's a huge company and can hemorrhage a bunch of money, but like...
Yeah, it might just be as simple as, you just can't throw money at a problem and expect an actual workable solution to come out of it. Maybe that's just the simple case of it.
I'm surprised that Amazon didn't like pull a Microsoft and just like buy a Bethesda. Maybe not something that big and that crazy, but a small studio that's made like a good game. Like, what if they bought Team Cherry or something like that, right? The Hollow Knight devs, right? And they're like, hey, they're an Amazon studio now. It's like, just, I don't know. It sounds like they I don't want to be mean, and obviously there's, people who work there who are definitely like, have been in the industry and have worked there, but just with how many failed projects they've had in a row, it's like, is this a problem with the teams themselves, or is there something weird above them that Amazon's managing that's causing all these flops? I don't know.
I need to find the news article for you guys, but there are a lot of articles around why Google and Amazon are just flopping.
In terms of video game stuff?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll link it afterwards because I forget exactly what they were saying. My personal take is that a video game is not just tech, right? You can't just like technically solve your way into a video game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's not a simple formula. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like they're not investing in the right game designers and kind of these creative directors. Maybe they're not listening to them, because I know Stadia hired a whole bunch of studio heads. Didn't
and then burned all those bridges.
Yeah, didn't the Naughty Dog lady? Oh my god, I forget what her name is, but she went to Stadia. I remember
she did. Mm-hmm. But she was like working on Stadia team, not like the actual like Google, their game dev teams, right? She didn't go to like one of those.
Yeah, so. I feel like these tech companies are like, hey, we have the tech, let's just use tech to build video games, but that's not how you build video games.
You're kind of onto something there. Maybe they were trying to design video games based more along like algorithms of what do people like, rather than, taking creative visions of the people actually making the game and going, all right, how can we incorporate these ideas into making an actual like fun experience that isn't just like the most distilled like stereotypical game of just concepts people like from other games.
You know, Alex, now that you said that, it's kind of adding up, because an MMO, they had the plans to make 2 MMOs essentially, and I love MMOs, but let's be honest, they're all pretty like cut and dry of like what an MMO is, right? There's not a huge amount of innovation in the space, right? Yeah. So, but it's also a nice thing that makes a bunch of money too. So, I don't know.
Like, you just think about Crucible, and it's just like an amalgamation of like MOBA, team-based shooter, just kind of all crammed together, and you got something out of it, but it wasn't actually
they had like a hat
or enjoyable.
They had a hat of like common video game things, and they just drew 3 things out of the hat and just mashed them into a game.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like. Like, they just had a computer create an algorithm that just kind of spat out something at the end of what they should create, rather than actually thinking through the process at all. At least that's my outside looking in kind of take from it.
It's probably just like one huge ML model that just like spits out even the name of the game. Crucible sounds kind of so generic.
Yeah, sure enough, yeah.
So, you can say the same thing of like when Bungie, like real Destiny. It's like, ooh.
Big ominous words, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what is this enigma? I gotta play that game and figure out what the Crucible is.
What's my destiny?
Crucible is kind of also like Artifact. I don't know why it always reminds me of Artifact. Probably because that game flopped too, and it's like roughly the same number of letters.
Tristan's that word's the same because it has the same amount of letters.
Hey, sometimes that's how ML models work. You know,
that's
you
true.
Don't know.
That's true. That's true. That's true. It all goes into the algorithm.
Yep.
Alex has coined it. He's gonna get hunted down by Amazon lawyers. Like, how did you figure out the algorithm?
Figured out their AIs. Yep.
That's gonna be their next game. It's gonna be called The Algorithm. It's also got like a sense of mystery behind it. Alrighty. Anything else on Amazon Games or Lord of the Rings MMO?
Kind of a shame because, Tolkien's universe is very interesting. There's a lot of lore to build up around it, so it would have been cool to see kind of a new MMO of it, but oh well.
I'm a little like, just a last comment, like, it's cool and all, and it's like an IP we know, but I feel like some of the fantasy things we have out there are so much more wide-reaching now that I don't know if it's limiting to limit yourself to the Tolkien universe.
Yeah, I guess so in a sense. I don't know so much I'd like the Tolkien universe for MMO per se. Maybe, I think either a single player driven experience, or maybe you could do some sort of like large scale battle experience in the Tolkien universe, because obviously there's a lot of wars during the whole series of books, so
all I know is the next studio to make like a Lord of the Rings, if it follows like the Frodo storylines type of game, is they better meme the crap out of like all the meme lines in the movies.
Yeah, you
there gotta be like an
and
by axe in there, the whole nine holes or whatever they say. I just made that up.
Sorry, one last comment, because I got frustrated about this. I feel like they should just focus their efforts on one game. Just make one good game.
Yeah, they did try to seem to create a whole bunch of games at once. Because, they have like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess 4 games, yeah.
Tristan, they literally were like, hey, they thought of that idea, and they were like, no, let's just start up a bunch and see what sticks, and then none of them stuck. And they're like, oh no, what do we do now?
Because, like, game dev studios, the constraints are usually money and time, right? Amazon has both of those. No one's gonna complain if a game from Amazon Game Studios is delayed by a year or whatever. Just, God. How do they mess this up?
Bezos, man. Whew. Actually, can we even blame him anymore? Is he even CEO anymore? I forgot when that was effective.
I mean, he approved it. It's not like, the problem's now, our problem now. It's
that's true, that's true.
A chain of events.
It's another video game title right there. I like it. Chain of events.
Chain of events. Sounds like a Kingdom Hearts subtitle.
It probably could be.
It's gonna be like, put some integrals, like, that symbol in front of some of the like words, and chain of events.
Yep.
Man, you're great at this. All right. We have a quick one after this. There was a rumor based on some job advertisements that the next BioShock game, will be an open world game. And the studio is now Cloud Chamber who's making it. Which I forgot if Ken Levine is a part of that studio.
No.
He is not.
Think
no.
he was.
He's not tied to this project.
Okay.
Ken Levine is at Ghost Story? Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Looking into it really quickly, it will be the 2 studios. They have one in SF and they have one in Montreal. And it looks like their main guy is...
unrelated. Did you have questions about this?
No. This is just a free-flowing one.
Can we settle the debate on if BioShock Infinite was a good game or not?
Yeah, we can right now. And here it is. It was a good game.
It was not a good game.
I don't think it was a good game.
It was a good game. Why wasn't it a good game?
I felt the game was too linear.
But that's every BioShock game.
Yeah, that has been every BioShock game.
So if that's your criticism, then why are the other ones good?
I guess my criticism extends further that I really didn't care for BioShock 1 or 2 either. So
okay. Well, that's understandable. If you didn't like the other ones, I could, if you didn't like the other BioShock games, I can see why you'd say that you didn't like Infinite. But if you liked the first 2, which I did, then I liked Infinite as well.
Maybe I'm misremembering BioShock 1, but wasn't BioShock 1 a little bit more quote-unquote open-worldy?
A little bit, yes. You would do a little bit more backtracking and stuff to actually go back and do things you couldn't previously accomplish because you didn't have the upgrade or...
Yeah.
Because I remember Infinite just being a straight line, basically.
Yeah, you basically never had to go back anywhere, ever.
Yeah.
I think...
But I wouldn't call that so much as a radical departure, right? As in, like, the other 2 were so open world, and then this one just went completely linear. I do agree it was very linear, but for me, I really liked the story, and the combat was really good. And that's all
I guess the major thing for me is it's just, like, I always felt the escort aspect of Infinite was very weak. I mean, it's just an invincible escort, which, I mean, obviously nobody wants to escort a dumb AI who just dies constantly. But I don't know, it just felt weak when your escort is really just invincible and not able to die, so why are you even protecting her? Why can't she just walk to the end herself?
I mean, she always, like, hides behind cover and stuff and just tosses you ammo and stuff.
But, yeah. And then, I don't know, maybe I just grew up on too much old stuff. I guess the open world aspect of this game kind of piques my interest a little more of this new BioShock. If they're going to do, like, more of a level design of, say, the old Deus Ex games, where it is a lot more open in terms of kind of stuff to do. And I guess also the new Mankind Divided and Human Revolution also were kind of hub worlds where you had a lot of side quests and things you could choose to do, and a lot of optional conversations you may just miss if you don't choose to actually talk to everybody. So that aspect might be interesting if they go that direction. But I just felt Deus Ex is a lot more large, more lived-in world than what BioShock has always been, where everybody's just kind of psychotic and everybody just wants to kill each other for no real reason.
I had an interesting thought when I saw this, because the first thing that popped into my head was, would the narrative style of the original BioShock games, would that translate to open world? And I tried to think of big open world games that have made very well run written stories, and the main game that came into my head was Witcher 3. So I think the only way that this would work nicely is sort of like a Witcher 2 style, where it's a very, there's the main story which you can progress, and it has these little hub locations where you can sort of expand the world more, because that's what I think the number one thing that's my favorite about the BioShock games is the world building is just fantastic. And so just being able to have these small little hub zones where you can flesh out the world even more, put side quests in, learn more about the characters, learn more about what's happening in the world, but still keep it fairly solidified on the main narrative. That's like a tricky balance, where if they move to open world, it's like, you lose that like main story aspect.
Yeah, where you kind of end up with perhaps like a MGS5 where it's really hard to keep track of what the main story even is a lot of the time.
Yeah, or either you just go off into side quest hell and you forget about it, right? And I feel like the side quest should serve to complement the game, but not completely branch off with like, you know, an Elder Scrolls type, like, this is the Mages Guild. You're going to have your own whole side story sideline for the Mages Guild. It's like, I don't feel like that's the right approach for an open world game like BioShock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess I'm just curious to hear that they do want to make an open world BioShock, because I always kind of imagine them as the more enclosed experience. So I'm kind of curious why, obviously brand recognition, but
because they heard Tristan Jung and they were like, "Oh, our game's too linear."
I was thinking, well, why does it have to be a BioShock game? Why couldn't? Because obviously the kind of predecessor to these games is System Shock back in the days. So why not just make a Shock variant and just call it something else, not BioShock? But I don't know. Maybe I'm getting pedantic at that point. But
what's the opposite of bio?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make another meme title game.
Syntho-Shock.
Oh, I like it. Justin, do you have anything?
No,
that's it. Give your 2 cents. Do we come up if it's a good game or a bad game?
Infinite, still bad game.
Oh man, you guys break my heart every episode. You guys disappoint me again.
Oh yeah, I still think Infinite is not a good game.
Is it a bad game though?
There are better games.
That was a very blanket statement.
Yeah,
you'd be a great lawyer, Tristan.
Like, is it a game I'll ever choose to go play? No.
I've played through it twice. That's because I played it on the hardest difficulty, and it's like a really pretty big challenge. Like, you have to learn how to use your power-ups and stuff nicely. Alrighty. We're going to move into our notable notes section, which is just me blabbering on about things that have happened. First one, Tristan Jung got a little too excited for Deathloop, so they had to delay it.
Yeah. They're like, please calm down. We need our Metacritic score. Once your excitement reaches half.
Simmer down a little. Alright, so September 14th, that is the new launch date for Deathloop.
That's so long.
Yeah, that's far out.
I mean, it is what it is. If it's going to be a good game, though, it's worth the wait.
Will it, though?
Yeah. It's hard
you're
to say.
cursing yourself.
It's shaky at this point.
That's exactly what they want to hear. They want to hear Tristan de-excited over it so that they can launch successfully.
I mean, the last game I was semi-excited for that got delayed was Cyberpunk.
Oh, no.
So
twice. That one got delayed twice.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Deathloop also twice, though. Oh, no.
Oh, no. It's been spicy.
Oh, no.
It's also coming out around the fall. So,
yeah.
Fun times.
All right. The next one, there was just a little article on PS5 and how they've essentially made their packaging more environmentally friendly. I just wanted to note it because, you know, good thing.
Yeah, I did want to note that this does not affect me because I refuse to throw away any console boxes. So I just have a whole pile of them just in my living room.
Same.
I when I put on my PS4, Tristan, or when I put on my PS5, I just took my PS4 and just put it in the old box I still had.
I don't know. It feels like almost like a sentimental collector's item for me.
Okay, I feel no sentiment towards it, but I just always keep it to put in.
Tristan, did you buy the Breath of the Wild special edition thing?
Yeah, it's my cornerstone of my gaming bookshelf.
There you go. My old roommate still has his as well. I tossed mine because that box was a little too big to keep around.
Yeah, it is kind of big.
But yeah. And then a little note here. We brought it up last month, but it has finally happened. The Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition is now free for PS4 and PS5 owners. You do not need PS Plus to get it, so just if you want to play that game, it's a pretty good game. Played it last year. Free until May 14th.
Nice.
Alrighty. That's all we have on our notable notes section. Moving into the latter half of the news. Age of Empires 4. Hoo boy.
Mm-hmm.
Hoo boy. we had a gameplay trailer.
We did.
And sorry for the audio-only listeners, or just the listeners in general. If you haven't seen the trailer and you want to know what our thoughts, obviously go watch the trailer right now. Otherwise, it's going to make no sense to you.
Pause here. We'll wait.
We'll wait.
JK, let's just keep going.
I'm waiting, yeah.
They're right on the intro. They just went, whoa, no, no. All right. Anyways, impressions from you guys.
What is with the UI?
That's an interesting place to go to first.
Yeah, they went for like a minimalist UI. I didn't think too much about it. What were your thoughts going into this, Tristan?
I know when you click on something, it pops up. The minimalist part, everything's kind of a little blocky. Whenever I see blocky UI, my first thought is always, did they build this for iPad?
Or Unity or something like that.
It does have that mobile game feel to it, yeah, now that I look at it.
Yeah, it's like when I played Runeterra or what was the other game that was mobile first? Let's just say Runeterra. When I played Runeterra, it's very obvious they built this for mobile, and this is giving off the same vibes.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm a little tainted because I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter Rise, and the UI takes up like 50% of the screen. Mm-hmm. So just seeing this is like a breath of fresh air.
But the UI is the most important part of an RTS, which is what's bothering me here.
I mean, it's got your essentials, it's got your resources, and it's got your map, and that's pretty much all you need, right?
I guess so. I don't know. I feel like making it reactive just introduces a lot of distractions for your eyes.
Yeah, a lot of periphery distraction, honestly, for me. When windows are just like collapsing away and coming back constantly when I click on things. It's distracting.
They'll hopefully have some options, or obviously, I don't want to go too much into the UI because I feel like the UI
is like, what the hell?
Well, and I just feel like the UI is that one thing that at the very end, if you need to change your UI, it doesn't affect the gameplay at all, right? Mm-hmm. So you can change it. You can even change it post-launch if people really hate it. I think the thing that stood out the most to me, which I guess you could argue is another thing that can be changed, obviously, from now until the launch, is the graphics are
also a mobile game, huh?
Yeah, they're pretty rough.
Why are the arrows like as tall as a person? Mm-hmm. I don't understand that.
And when I stared at it, I was just thinking like, wow, this kind of reminds me of Age of Mythology back in the day. It's not quite as bad as Age of Mythology, but man, it hasn't improved much since then.
Like, the shaders look like a modern day RTS, but then like the texture quality on the units just drop back down to like 2005. Textures are just awful. Or very basic, I guess I can say. It all looks like little toys or something. I don't know. They don't look like actual things, which obviously could be part of art style, but I don't know. It just doesn't. Maybe this takes place in the Smash Bros. Universe, and it's just Master Hand playing against another Master Hand. But yeah, maybe they need to tweak the shading or something, because I don't know. Something just looks off while I watch it. It doesn't look like actual things moving. It just looks like weird pieces of plastic. It got better as the trailer went on and they showed like the later ages or the different civilizations. Mm-hmm. But like the early game units look so bad. Yeah, and overall, I guess, I don't know how like alpha/beta stage this footage is, but like, I don't know, units just don't feel like they're interacting with each other, if that makes sense. Like,
yep.
Units will be attacking each other, but there's no like real signs of impact or that they're taking hits or even if they're dealing damage or anything. It's like, I don't know. And then they just eventually fall over. Or like they'll take arrows that are obviously massive logs, but they don't actually like have like a hit stun or anything or like any kind of effect to show that they're even taking damage from it. So yeah, I don't know. It's weird to me.
And the objects get deleted pretty quickly. Like, an elephant gets hit with an arrow, and then the arrow just disappears immediately. I feel like it's worse for you guys, because you guys have been playing a lot of Warhammer 2 recently.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I have to constantly refer back to, is I think about, like, Warhammer, where we're seeing, like, hundreds of units rendered on screen at once, and they all have, like, arrows sticking out of them, and blood, if you have the DLC, the blood coming off of them as well, but, like, arrows sticking through them and stuff, and yeah, all these impacts on the ground and things, and there's just none of that in here. I feel like Warhammer just
made everyone else upset because it's just such a good game that everyone's like, well, crap, right?
So we decided to release a piece of... No.
So you're excited to release a mobile game on PC.
Yeah.
In an already kind of struggling genre. Yeah. I don't know. It's just bizarre to me to see something coming out of Relic Entertainment, which is kind of like hugely known for, they did Company of Heroes, right?
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, compare the graphics from Company of Heroes 1 to this game.
And we come here.
Like, maybe the shaders are better in this game, but everything else looks uggo.
Yeah, and like, Company of Heroes had all this, like, ground, evolution and stuff as explosions and stuff went off and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know. This game just looks as basic as it could possibly be. Like, almost like it could run on mobile, which maybe that's the end game strategy they wanted to run on.
I know that the big push for this and what they tried to showcase in this trailer was the fact that civilizations are very unique now, right?
At
like, if you play the Mongols, they don't have a real home base anymore. You kind of move your HQ around, which is, like, really unique. But I feel like it got overshadowed by just this game kind of looks,
Yeah, so I just have to hope it's real rough footage, but I think this game is slated to come out later this year, so yeah, it's kind of a yikes for me currently.
Fall 2021.
They can delay it. It's fine.
True, they can.
Now it overlaps with Deathloop, so...
I just read the top YouTube comment, and it said, this game looks exactly like what all those fake mobile game ads pretend their games look like. And that was, like, the perfect description.
I think if you watch this, yeah, you'll feel it's akin to a lot of mobile games that you see nowadays, which is just kind of blows your mind, I think.
The other comment is that just said, this trailer just fueled another 5 years of still images that mobile games will use for their ads.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh.
But, I have hope for the game. Obviously, when it comes to an RTS, like, it's the core fundamentals underneath it, right? Like, StarCraft Brood War, like, at this point looks very dated, right? But its core gameplay is still very good that a lot of people still play it. So, I don't want to judge a book by its cover yet, is what I'm saying, I guess. But
yeah, I guess it was just very underwhelming for a, like, huge gameplay reveal, I think is what can be said about it.
Yeah. Alrighty. Anything else? If not, we're going to move on to some Overwatch news. Jeff Kaplan leaves Blizzard. The new Overwatch game director will be Aaron Keller.
Yeah, and this kind of came out of left field. I don't think there were any kind of rumors rumbling in the background about this one. It just came suddenly this morning, actually, of when we were recording.
Yeah. Is it because he heard our degeneracy? And he's like, I just can't.
It's like,
man,
the future
he's the Overwatch game director, Tristan. He's been hearing this for like 4 years. This is nothing new to him.
I've seen the Overwatch player base. I know what goes on there.
Just surprising. I mainly want to bring this into the context of not just, obviously everyone's wondering like, what's the impacts on Overwatch 2? I've heard both sides of the story, both opinions thrown out of, this could mean that Overwatch 2 is in turmoil, but there's also the argument of, it could be that the game is pretty set in stone at this point and they know what they want to do. And Jeff's like, all right, you guys don't need me anymore. I'm gonna, peace out and go work on a new project somewhere else.
Yeah, I kind of felt that angle of it reading what Jeff had written in his kind of goodbye address of his leaving. So, yeah, I kind of took it as Activision Blizzard had like this grand strategy of why we haven't heard anything about Overwatch 2, and it's probably the reason, like, I imagine Activision Blizzard is trying to push it towards more of a model that has been successful with things like Call of Duty Warzone and things like that. So they're going to try and push Overwatch in that direction. At least this is my, just kind of gut feeling of kind of how Activision's going to gear it towards the market currently. So they'll want to make it a monetary model like that, because it's been proven to succeed well. And, the previous vision of Overwatch that I think was the big sells was like, it's going to be the most massive esports game in history ever. And that was kind of what games were trying to do for a while and not really ever successfully done. So I think that's what Activision Blizzard's going to push Overwatch 2 to ultimately be. And maybe Jeff didn't quite gel with that idea, or maybe he was just like, all right, then, go on with it, and, you don't need me anymore, so goodbye.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where it'll go. I don't think it's by any means the death of Overwatch or Overwatch 2.
Oh, no.
I was a big Hearthstone player back in the day, and I think it was a couple years ago when Ben Brode, who was the original director of Hearthstone, left Blizzard. Everyone was wondering, all right, what's the direction of this game gonna go? And I haven't played it recently, but from what I've seen with the new expansions is, obviously it's still getting expansions and things like that.
Yeah, and they just recently added like a Slay the Spire-esque kind of game mode, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I think that kind of supports maybe my thought that, their grand strategy is going to be, you know what, we'll just emulate other successful trends for our ongoing games. And, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say, I think the game, hasn't been doing any worse, or at least from an outside perspective. Maybe someone who plays it a lot would be like, oh, the balance is horrible. But there's, even when Ben was the director, there were still some pretty trashy metas and things like that. So I think it's not, we'll have to see where this goes in the long run.
I personally think it's more of a business issue than an actual game design issue. Basically, I'm just agreeing with you guys.
I did see rumors, and I don't know if it was rumors or was confirmed at all, that Jeff had to fight pretty hard to get Overwatch 2 delayed. He didn't think it was going to be ready. And he might have won that battle, but then ultimately he might have been butting heads, throughout this entire time with upper management, and he might have just finally just gotten fed up with it. And probably at this point, if the game is going to release still in a year, which is, far away, but the game could already be, they already have a creative vision enough of what they want to do that he's like, all right, I still want to see this game succeed, but I don't really want to work here anymore.
Yeah, you just want to head the project team more, which is fair. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's just interesting to see Blizzard's overall direction. They've had so many high profile, famous, if that's the word you want to use, developers leave in the past 3 or 4 years that it's becoming a little bit, they haven't flopped as hard, I would say, or they haven't had any major flops, but sort of BioWare-esque almost.
Diablo Immortals.
That game hasn't even launched
yet.
No,
it hasn't even come out officially yet.
Can it flop if you never come out?
It's a very philosophical. I see this as, the ship of Theseus. You know that, right?
I like it.
Is Blizzard even Blizzard if all the main folks are replaced? Sounds like it. I don't know. It sounds like it is if they're able to still kind of release content and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is, Blizzard definitely carries that stigma of where they haven't really had a super successful project come out in the last few years, so, or at least in the opinions of a lot of people, so. We'll see if Overwatch 2 is maybe the thing that can turn the ship around.
I mean, in the same regards, I don't want to always say, just because your vets are leaving, it means things are
it's definitely not a sign of
these people have all been here for so long, it could be, they're all kind of realizing at this point in their career that they want to do something different. But it is a little worrisome when it's a 2 to 3 year time span and you've had so many people like Chris Metzen and Ben Brode, and did Dustin Browder leave as well? I don't remember if he did, but just all these famous, people who essentially built your company from the ground up, and now
a lot of the ones who were in the really big projects of, the things that everybody knows from your development studio.
So we'll have to see. We will have to see. All right, our last story of the day. There were some rumors that it was going to shut down, but confirmed from PlayStation on their blog that the PS3 and PS Vita stores will continue operations.
Woo! We did it, Reddit.
We did it. There was some people saying, because they never officially announced it, right? They were just picking up on some rumors that they were going to shut it down, and maybe Sony saw the backlash and were like, all right, backtrack.
Yeah.
It's only costing us I don't know,
It's like one AWS instance or something.
Yeah, it's like $1,000 a year to keep these shops. They're like that. Probably not that cheap, but like $5,000 a year to keep both these shops up running. And maybe they're not making any money on it, but in terms of just $10,000 to keep your consumers happy, they're willing to pay that price or whatever. But I had an interesting opinion question just based off of this. How long should a game console be supported after its quote unquote like successor has come out? And is there a hard and set rule? I guess that's the first question.
Yeah, I guess it's not really a precedent we've had to consider before because, with like Super Nintendo or whatever, it's not like a matter of, we have an online service or anything to actually maintain. It's just, are we going to make carts or are we going to stop making carts and, controller peripherals, things like that?
Yep.
Now there's
I would say it started essentially with these two consoles right here, right? PS3, Vita, Wii, and 360.
Heavily that era of consoles, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's rough because, people will purchase a lot of digital goods, and if it's just eventually, you can't get the good digital goods anymore, that sucks. But I think that's kind of what you signed up for in the EULA, if you really want to read all of it.
I almost feel like we're going to start losing pieces of history because some games are digital only, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at least the shop front we should try to keep open as long as possible. Like, sure, if there's no system updates or blah, 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 that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But I feel like shop fronts are more important because some games are like PS3 only, maybe they're digital only, and once the shops close, you're just kind of done. There's like no way to play that game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tell you right now, Tristan, that, back in 2019, there was the last Wii Shop update day.
Right.
Because that shop was discontinued in January 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, it comes down to the minimum is you support it at least one gen after. Once you're 2 gens past, you hit the gray area where as a consumer, it's almost like, all right, like, we were already not really, towards the later run of the last gen, this or last gen thing wasn't making much money. And now that we're in the next gen, it's like, a consumer shouldn't expect it to be open at that point. Obviously, if you can, that's a great win to have. There are many video game archive, websites out there that try to archive the online only games.
Yeah.
Which is why people, support ROMs and things like that because, it is part of a history preservation thing at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think from a general consumer standpoint, I think after 2 gens, it's acceptable for a company to shut down a shop.
Wait, that's your opinion, right?
That's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, did somebody write this somewhere?
No. That's my opinion.
I don't know. The gaming historian in me has such a strong bias in this, on this topic.
I mean, you could extend it past, like, consoles and even bring it to, like, old games, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many not expansions, but how many sequels past in a game should the online servers still be available, right?
Yep.
And, that's a big proponent of why people like PC gaming is because you can always start up your own servers, but...
Mm-hmm. Or they can just be Guild Wars 1 and still run, even though there's only, like, who knows how many players still playing Guild Wars 1 at this point.
I swear there's just, like, Brian, whatever his name, the old CEO, just has, like, a big server room.
Yeah, probably just has one computer.
He just runs. And there's so few players that he can run it on, like an old computer in the back. But Tristan, you haven't given any of it. Is your opinion just never? It's never acceptable?
I think as long as possible.
Well, define possible, because it could be
Like
never or always possible.
Yeah, never. I mean, all companies die at some point, right? So you can't say never.
Oh man, until your company's hemorrhaging money, but you're still running those game servers with 10 people on them.
I mean, I think I'm with Tristan on this one. As long as keeping the servers alive isn't like driving your company like just plummeting into the red. I don't really see a reason why you should ever really have to consider ending service to at least just provide people with a place to download games.
I don't know. It could be stuff on like, the tech that runs those servers gets older and older, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're obviously not going to spend time to rewrite the tech that runs on those things. So eventually you have to shut those down, but
Okay,
who knows?
To be fair, I don't think, honestly, like, Sony doesn't have the responsibility to do this thing. I feel like to help the human race, this is getting really philosophical now.
All right. Just as Mr. Socrates today.
I don't know. I feel like they may have a moral guiding principle to make sure that these things are accessible.
I agree with that.
Of course, from a business perspective, it makes no sense. They should have just shut it down.
the realist comes back immediately. Because I mean, like, if they check the PS3 numbers and they're like, we have 1,000 people every day accessing this thing, and it's costing us, $500
and none of them are buying
$500 a
things.
day. Yeah, none of them are buying things. They're just downloading old games, and it's costing us $500 a day. It's like, is that worth it? When these things shut down, are you not even allowed to download old games? I think that's
like
the case,
you can't
right?
connect to the store, right? So
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able
So
to
you
connect
can't
to the
even
store,
get
so I
those
wouldn't think
things.
you'd be able to get things that you'd purchased previously.
Yeah, I guess there's that whole other topic of what about the games you've bought and now you can't re-download.
Nintendo. Nintendo.
Download it now before your purchase game goes back into the Nintendo vault.
Yep, forever.
You merely bought a temporary access from the vault. Alrighty, that's all we had. Any last thoughts on this one? Oh, I did have one extenuating thing. Are there any factors that either increase or decrease how long for example, storefront should be alive? Like the Wii U, right? That thing flopped. But should they support that until, 2026? Like 10 years after or whatever? Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe it's an unrealistic expectation. Because and it's like stemming from Steam and their storefront, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Or even like good old games. Where you can just get a real historical repository going.
And maybe the new PlayStation Store is better because I know I can buy PS4 games on the PS5 store. Maybe they're the same storefront and runs on the same backend. So this is like the only generation that we're gonna be in this awkward spot.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good point to bring up. And I feel like the Nintendo eShop has sort of hit that, or at least hopefully has hit that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where when the next Switch console comes out, you'll obviously be able to download your old Switch stuff on it. I forget that the DS eShops, you could transfer, it was a pain in the butt, I recall. But you could log in and transfer or still download your old DS games on newer models of the DS. I don't know how DS to 3DS worked though.
The fact that you brought this up, I'm getting preemptive PTSD.
I remember you could do it, right? But it was a real pain in the butt to do it.
When the new Switch comes out, are we gonna have new friend codes too? Or is it tied to your Nintendo account?
I think it's tied to your Nintendo account
Okay,
now.
thank God. Okay.
Your Nintendo network ID or whatever the heck it's
I
called.
was freaking out. Just the thought of entering all those friend codes again.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even they're recommend for me, the funny thing, random side note. When I put all my friends on my Switch, it hooked into my Nintendo Net ID, which was hooked to my Miitomo account, which I had a bunch of my real life friends on. So when I was adding friends to my Switch, it was recommending all my Miitomo friends, which were essentially, all the friends I was going to add anyways. So I don't really have to deal with friend codes.
Figured it out.
Remember Miitomo? Whew.
I played that so much. I just realized it was just a data mine. I gave up all my personal information for nothing, for free.
Yeah, did you answer questions about your friends though?
Yeah, I did. I used to visit and message them afterwards.
Animal Crossing before Animal Crossing, but not after Animal Crossing. Alrighty. That's all we have. I'm going to give a special little tidbit for next episode. We are going to be starting a new series called the Back Alley Backlog Bets,
Oh, man.
where we're going to be making some deals on getting through our backlogs. All right, everyone, that wraps it up for episode 70 of Viewport Relay. Viewport Relay is available on Radio Public, iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, Podbean, and all your favorite podcast directories. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe, review, and share it with your friends. That's how you know this is live. That was a slip up. We're also on social media as Viewport Gaming on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. But Tristan, why Viewport Gaming?
Well, Viewport Relay is part of Viewport Gaming, a website that provides a look into video games through reviews, features, and podcasts. You can find all Viewport content at viewportgaming.com.
Thank you, Tristan. And as always, I've been your host, Albert Corson, drummer Tristan Jung.
Goodbye.
And Alex Nestor.
See you next time.